Are you looking for affordable office space in Marion? The professional building located at 685 Delaware Avenue is the place for you. For more information, call 740-383-6803. Office space is now available. Again, telephone number 740-383-6803. Hey, Scott Spears with you here on Scott Spears Now. My next guest is a gentleman that I like a lot, and I know a lot of you know very well. The Golden Voice, Ted Williams. Ted, how are you?
Hey, Scott. Always a pleasure to be here. I'm doing fine, to answer your question. Always a pleasure to be here, and whenever you call, I try to accommodate. And you're my friend. You're my on-air friend. You have done very good by me in the last 6 months or so, and you really are. Mary Ellen Withrow and I were talking about this. Some people are nice, and some people... That's okay. Some people are nice, genuinely, and you're certainly one of those people. Well, thank you. I had a great time with you and Gallagher. And wasn't that something? Yeah, that was something. Oh, he is something else. And what was the other guy? Squirtman. Squirtman, yeah. Squirtman. I don't know whatever became of him. Is that right? But I have seen Gallagher on a few commercials since then. You know, he's doing okay. He's rolling right along, but yeah. He's a different personality. Yeah, I might add. Yeah, he was. That was an interesting day. What is it like to meet people like that, Ted? Gallagher, but you've met the Today Show group, all kinds of people. You know what, Scott? I don't know if I had made my trip. I just recently got back from Indianapolis, Indiana. They had the annual Black Expo, and I had a chance to meet Flex Alexander, who actually is a star of a television sitcom called One-on-One, and he was with Kyla Pratt. And I also met, I forget his name, but anyway, he plays on Martin as Cole. I also met Bernadette Stanis, who was Thelma in Good Times. Oh. So, it's phenomenal, 16 months ago, I was looking at these people on television and really admiring their work and all, and now I'm actually rubbing elbows. Casey and JoJo of Jodeci, I met them. Gladys the Knight, quite a few people that I had the pleasure of meeting and introducing myself to, and it was fabulous, man. It's fabulous. Growing up, what kind of TV shows did you watch? Who did you want to be? Oh, who did I wanted to be Johnny Carson, or Jack Parr, or Jack Parr. Yeah. He's great. And Dick Cavett, those are the kind of guys that I really looked up to as far as television broadcasters. I also love Peter Jennings, Max Robinson of ABC News, definitely Tom Brokaw. Dan Rather, no. But, those are the kind of people I looked at. In the broadcast industry, we went through talk show hosts there, and we went through newsmen, and you were obviously on the radio for a good period of time. What did you see yourself falling in as? A talk show host, an interviewer, a newsman? What did you consider yourself? Morning drive radio. That's all I wanted to do. Good morning, Columbus. 5 minutes after 6 o'clock, 6:05. I just wanted to bring people get that energy rolling in the morning, and that's what I saw myself as. I wanted to get people up in the morning. I wanted to go on the air every morning and just tell people the time, the temperature, any information I could pass along, and play the best music. Why was that? What was the reason? They just had more personality and energy. You heard your middays and your afternoon drive people. They were, but the morning man was the guy who, getting you up. And people really, and that's what made me very successful in 2 or 3 markets that I've worked in morning drive, was that I was high energy. No matter what what was going on in my life, I didn't let it affect my radio job. Were you ever nervous about going on the radio? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm nervous now. Really? No. How do you get over the nerves? I don't know. It's just something like, you're going to get through it. It's almost over. You're thinking about it being over before you. That's how I do. I think about, how much more time do I have? Yeah. I think that's interesting because it's something you wanted to do more than anything, but yet you're nervous about doing it. Yeah. Well, when they would tell me that, when you hit that microphone, see, that's a misconception that I felt, that thousands of people are listening to you, when in fact it could only be one person. I think I mentioned that to you. And so now I tailor myself to speak to that one person, as opposed to trying to think that there are 30,000 people out there listening to Ted Williams, when in reality it's only one, that housewife or that person at work. So I tailor my show that way.
I think sometimes people forget that you were in this business before the last 2 years. How did you start out? How did you get in the door?
It started at WVOE in Chadbourn, North Carolina. I got out of the military in Fayetteville, and I moved to Whiteville, North Carolina. And there was a radio announcer by the name of Doc Holliday. And Doc was, animated. With a name like Doc Holliday, you'd have to, know that he had to be nothing but fun. But he brought me in, and he said, Ted, how would you like to do afternoons? Part-time afternoons, should I say, which was only the weekends in the afternoon. And that was it, man. Once I turned on, and then when you get off the air and somebody say, I heard you today, or you sound good, or I like that record you played, that was enough to take me to another level. Yeah. And I was like, you would have thought I was Gary Owens, who you had on the, you know what, I have to say this. I want to thank you very much for that. I've never gotten a chance to personally thank you. I thanked you that day, but I thought about it many times thereafter, and I said, damn, I said, darn.
That's okay. That's okay.
I have to shake Scott's hand again because Gary Owens,
Well, Ted, the thing about this is I think anybody who meets you would have to say this. We could say whatever about your past or whatever about your career. You certainly have talent, and I think that's what we all see. I think get from the Gary Owens to me to Matt Lauer to your family to anybody. I mean, there is a talent there.
A God-given gift.
Exactly, as it was written.
Yeah, as it was printed.
As it was written. If you were teaching a class on broadcasting, what would you say is the most important thing to know?
Read everything that comes in front of you. Read and play with the words the best way you know how. Put your own personality in your reading, comprehend it, and have fun with delivering it. That would be, just have fun. I'm trying to get one of my grandchildren or one of my kids or somebody's going to get into broadcasting. If I got to beat it into them. No.
Well, why is it broadcasting? Because I believe it too. I'm with you right along there with you. I would do it for nothing.
Yeah.
What is it about that for you?
It's the only form of entertainment that I can lend myself to and not have to worry about so many other elements. It's my personal gift, talent, and I enjoy broadcasting. There's television and radio broadcasting. I particularly care for radio broadcasting because I like to have fun. I'm a Howard Stern kind of guy. I'm a Scott Spears kind of guy. Everybody has their own personality in this business, and that's what I love most, that we all can take our personalities and reach for the stars. That's interesting there, because you said Jack Parr, Dick Cavett, Howard Stern, all very successful. Mm-hmm. But Howard Stern, for the years, the handle that he's gotten is shock jock. Mm-hmm. But Jack Parr and certainly Dick Cavett were considered more serious, kind of maybe polished NPR. Kind of guys, yeah. What do you consider yourself? Are you a shock jock? Were you a shock jock? Yes, I was, very much so. I'll tell you one particular instance. Club Nouveau had a new record called Lean on Me, and it was new to the market. We were the only station that had back then it was remixes, 12-inch versions, and disco versions, club versions. Well, we were the only station in Columbus that was playing the extended versions. And this particular morning, I just decided I was going, because I got sick and tired of after I played it, somebody would just be getting out of the bed or getting in their car and they'd call me and say, hi, can you play Club Nouveau? And I just played it. So in order to keep that away, I just went on ahead and I played it for an hour and 5 minutes straight. And now here's more of Club Nouveau right after this. Club Nouveau with Lean on Me. And I did, and by this time, my general manager, my program director, everybody's pulling their hair out and they're calling me, Ted, if you play it one more time, you're fired. So I got on the air after my commercial break and I said, coming up, more Club Nouveau right after these words. Now, they're really waiting for me to play it, and lo and behold. So as a result, I played it. It's in my book. I played it, and they were flying down. I took my key and broke it off in the knob so they couldn't get in. And while they were actually looking in the door, here's more Club Nouveau right after these. Oh, man. So that was shockish. People loved it. So they fired me. Needless to say, they fired me for 24 hours because I had a band of support that you wouldn't believe. Columbus listeners came down and said, put that man back on the air.
That's a great story.
Yeah, that was one of my shock jock stories.
I love that. Now, when you're doing that, when they threaten you and say, we want to fire you, do you get worried?
Sort of, kind of. Well, it's the bread and butter. And then, one thing about radio, you can be the biggest guy in radio today, and if you're not on that air tomorrow, you're forgotten almost. You know what I mean? What'd you say your name was?
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't want to be forgotten, so I kind of backed off. But there was a couple other things. One of the barbecue places in Columbus, Ohio, is JP's Barbecue. This guy is synonymous with feeding Columbus, and that was his catchphrase was, "We feed the people." Well, that morning I felt like I wanted to take that another level, and I acted as though that I had just ripped this from the AP, and he has renamed his franchise from JP's to PJ's, and now not only does he make claims to feeding the people, he sleeps with them too. The guy pulled a $30,000 contract right out from under me until I made a public apology, and I did, and he put it back on. But there was people that thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard, So they was like, Ted, come on, back off of that, especially with our clients,
If you went back to radio today in that position, shock jock in the morning, would you still be a shock jock?
No. I would like to do something like what you're doing now. I kind of mellowed out somewhat. I'll be 55 this year. So I kind of want to do some interviewing, I have interviewed many celebrities, back in my day, R&B artists for the most part. And, Phil Collins, he wasn't R&B, but at the time Easy Lover was popping, but with Philip Bailey. So I said that to say this, that, I'd like to just go out to pasture in the talk show venue.
Has anybody offered you a talk show?
No, sir.
Really?
Directly, no. But I have been offered many radio jobs. One most recently down in Indianapolis, Indiana, at a very pioneering station there, WTLC.
And do you think it's something you're interested in?
Well, you know what? I might try to field that, but I have so many other things between now and then. Right now, I don't know if you want to know what's currently happening.
Yes, that's where I'm going.
Well, right now, and I got to give you, you're going to have the official 411 on something right now.
Well, I'm ready.
I went to New York just recently, and I did a HBO special. It's not all me, but it's about wellness, and it's the Rockland County wellness people. Very fine people, and I can't grab the names right now, and I feel bad. But at any rate, they had me at the State Psychiatric Hospital, walking in the cemetery, talking about how many of the unseen talents, the voices unheard, the paintings never painted, of people who haven't addressed mental health issues. There are so many, and mental health and drug addiction, in which I qualify for both, work hand in hand, you know what I mean? Because I thought I was losing my mind. Here I was standing on a corner, looking crazy as I was, holding a sign, begging for money, and sitting there going, when you're listening to nothing but the best, I thought I lost my mind. But this feature is going to be brilliant, and it debuts in October. No date yet. Now, that's the first 411. The second one, while I was in New York, Wendy Williams asked me to come and read, possibly for her new VO. And I read as best as I could and everything, but they said, Scott, that my voice lends more to late night television. And they wanted a, and now here's Wendy Williams. And I was, and now here's Wendy Williams. So I was disappointed, Wendy, if you're listening.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, but I went and I auditioned, and she said there's many other things that she wants to use me for it, so don't, I didn't lose no kind of hope with that, but I was hoping that it would have been, and now here's Wendy. Instead, she wanted, and now here's Wendy.
That's something.
Yeah, my voice was too dark for daytime television. No pun intended.
Well, you did the Today Show. You did the Today Show.
Yeah, live from Studio 1A.
Yeah. What is the best offer you've gotten since that day in January?
Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Cheesy noodles, yes. Kraft, I just redid a Kraft spot. As a matter of fact, Kraft has now microwavable bowls.
Now, do you get free Kraft?
Well, yeah,
That's what I want to know.
I love Kraft macaroni and cheese. Let me go on record of saying, and I think everybody at one time or another has eaten Kraft macaroni and cheese, but they have donated so many boxes in behalf of me to shelters and so forth. Once my kids and my grandkids get settled down in Florida, I'm going to be shipping them a bunch of noodles.
Ted, we talked about this. You are in Ohio. You came back to Ohio. Your family, some of them are now going to Florida. You got the job in Indianapolis, or have a job opportunity there. Mm-hmm. Would you leave Ohio for a job?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that? Because you told me you came back here because it was comfortable.
Well, yeah, and around family.
Yeah.
All my kids and my grandkids are all in Ohio. But now I see they're branching out off as well. There's no need to stay with Daddy, because Daddy's I can pretty much fly to wherever they're at. So I do want to leave Columbus.
Oh, where would you like to go? The ideal place to live?
Well, right now my mother is still residing in Brooklyn, New York. Excuse me, Scott. She's residing in Brooklyn, New York, and she's all by herself. She has no kids, no grandkids, nobody there with her. And it's my childhood home. I was thinking that I probably would like to go and settle with her. They either bring her back to Ohio. Ohio is her place of birth.
Really?
She was born and raised on the west side of Columbus, on the east side of Columbus, and my father was on the west side, and that's the reason why Ohio was even in my mindset to come and live. However, if she doesn't want to relocate, because once you've had a bite of New York, you just don't want to go anywhere else, including your birthplace. So I want to go spend a few weeks with her and decide. But New York is not where I want to go. To answer your question, North Carolina is where I'd like to live.
And how is your mother doing? We all got to know her very well.
Yeah, my mom is doing fine. She's still sparky, and she's getting along well. She just wants me to kind of be careful.
Has she been back to Ohio since this whole whirlwind?
No, she hasn't. But, because traveling now for her is a big ordeal with the TSA and all of that. She has to take off her shoes and take off her jewelry and all of that. She's 94 years old, so she's getting a little. She has a birthday coming up, as a matter of fact, next week, September 4th. But and mine is the 22nd, and I'll be in Philadelphia. There's a recovery with the governor and everybody of Philadelphia, and I'll be there on the 22nd. It's a walkathon in response to the addiction and recovery. Philadelphia is now building up their recovery community because there's a lot of addiction there, and they're trying to really, really go through some transitions with bringing the recovery community up.
Homelessness and charity work is very close to your heart.
Very much so. Very much so. I look forward to coming here to Marion on your behalf and maybe giving the shelters or the homeless people here some help. The Ted Williams Project, which is headed by Melissa Killen, she's doing a phenomenal job, I might add. Outstanding. And she's ready to take any calls on my website or whatever and see if we could help some of the shelters with their wish lists.
Ted, it's interesting because once you hit the Today Show and Dr. Phil and all the Access programs and the early show, I think people thought that the money just started pouring in and it was a Cinderella story, and now you've written the book and you're off and everything's wonderful. What happens when that all goes on? I mean, are there big paychecks? Is everything financially wonderful at that point?
Let's just say all of my bills are paid. I'm not seeing any hungry nights. I ran out of gas up here, but no, I am probably the richest, poorest person in the world.
Now, what does that mean?
What it means is that I have all my bills paid. Right now I'm covering. I have an 18,000 square foot condominium. I'm paying for 2 cars, 2 insurance payments. I'm paying back child support. I've just settled a lawsuit, just paid a $40,000 loan off to a bank. I'm settling a lawsuit for $75,000. And that's where the poor comes in. But I'm rich with love.
But is the work coming in?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Man, you know what, Scott, had it been anybody else, I would have had to, renege. I mean, not because there was, no scale or anything going, But because I have so many things to do, and I'm, trying to do everything the best I can.
Well, I'm just glad everything's going well for you because, as I said, you're just one of those genuinely nice people, and I think
I love you too.
And I think that we all appreciate that. I think that's what we see in you. I think that's what we saw in you even when you were standing on the road there, that this is a genuinely nice person who maybe needs a helping hand.
Thank you, Scott, really. And I tell people all the time that in spite of my hideous look, my teeth, and all of that, I still had a smile.
It's good.
I look at that video sometime, and I look at how honest my smile was of all. That $1 that Doral Chenoweth gave me to give him that one-liner, it made me smile that somebody would actually pay me to do that, and it was just $1. And I was so humble in taking that dollar and acting as though it was $1 million to me, that I think the Lord, and I don't know how he keeps score up there, but I think he looked at me like, this kid needs one more shot, one more chance. So it's not my second chance. It's not one more chance. This is my last chance. And
you're doing well with it.
And I'm going to run with the ball all the way to the 100-yard line. You're not
going to fumble this one.
No, I'm not going to fumble this one. I have too many mouths to take care of now.
Is that hard, Ted? Is that difficult to have that pressure on you?
At times it becomes a little overwhelming. I've only have 15 months sober, and sometimes life on life's terms throws me some curves, and the only way I know how to do is medicate it. Whether it's alcohol, crack, or reefer, or whatever. Any drug you got, I'll use it to anesthetize myself. But at times, but I surround myself around good people. My attorney, my friend Eric Harding, my girlfriend Kathy, my kids. It goes no further. I don't sit around and socialize in bars. No one will ever catch me in a very uncompromising position. I don't go around trying to chase women. I just love the terms of endearment that people use for me now, like, go get 'em. You inspire me. Keep up the good work. I'm a friend of Dr. Bob's. Those kind of things.
Well, Ted, you mentioned there when we were talking finances about a lawsuit you settled. Do you want to talk about that?
Actually, briefly I will. My book. I signed some papers, when I was homeless. I was a crackhead. I was a deadbeat dad. I was all that. And I was given a contract at which $375,000 sounded great. It was an advance. $375,000 to a crackhead? I was like, I had just hit the lotto. Well, I signed those papers. Out of that $375,000, had Brett Adams not come into my life then, I would have had a great selling book as it's doing, but I would have only made $13,000 out of $375,000. There were literary agents. There was about 30 hands in my contract. He negotiated, and $75,000 was an out-of-court settlement. I can't mention no names.
No, but so that was what you ended up getting for
So 375 minus 75, and the rest you can do the math.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And now it's only 20%, 10%, to the people that are supposed to get money.
Does that? 375 down to only getting 75. Does that bother you?
Yeah.
That's the settlement.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah.
But
you know what? God is good. He's a provider. Right. He is able, and I'm able to just forgive those like God forgives me. Turn the other cheek and keep on stepping, Scott.
Yeah.
Because there's something out there still better, bigger and better yet for all of us in this room.
Even though things have gotten so better, do you ever have moments of anger?
Yes, Scott. Let me tell you why. There's a MAPS accountability. They call me twice a week. It's Dr. Phil, bless his heart. He got me this accountability program that calls me. And one of the things that they say is, how's your stress level, Ted, on a scale of 1 to 10? Is there anything jeopardizing your recovery on a scale of 1 to 10? How stressful are you thinking about money matters and all of those kind of things? Excuse me. And I get angry. The devil gets in where he fits in with me at times. I get angry because so many people sometimes put this weight on my shoulders that I always feel like if I fail, I've let the world down, I've let my kids down, I've let my girlfriend down, I've let my attorney down. I feel like, yes. But it doesn't get me to an angry to where I want to go drink or anything like that. But it just gets me like, tell them to call back. Those kind of anger. I'm still tender with this one day at a time situation. Any day I feel like about a month ago I was feeling a little like, God, I'm going to explode one day, Not because I want to use, not because I want to, but because, there was a kid that came up to me, bless his heart. He walked up to me and he said, now this kid ain't even old enough to smoke marijuana, let alone try crack, alcohol, or anything else. But he came up to me and he said, you helped my father. My father's in treatment now. And he said, and this kid was about 11 years old. And he said, my father's in treatment now, just to see how happy he was directed toward the fact that I had something to do with it. Now here, if I walk down the street and somebody says, hey, can I take a picture with you? And I say yes, and this guy's got a big Michelob in his hand, not knocking Michelob, but, a beer or something, and then wants to take a picture of me with that beer, I think about that kid now. That if I sit up there and let this man jeopardize that kid's inspiration or his feelings about his dad being in treatment, that he saw his dad, because my grandson over here to the right can testify seeing his grandfather 15 months ago stealing, looking crazy, ain't had a bath, stunk.
What were you most ashamed
of?
During that time, yeah.
That my kids and my
okay. Excuse
my
me.
Family.
You're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, that my family, had to see me not give a damn about myself.
That's tough.
Well, at least they thought I didn't. And so, if you don't give a darn about yourself, you can't give a darn about anybody else. That's why today I can tell them I love them, because today Daddy loves, or Grandpa loves himself.
Ted, what interesting thing about you is you've written this book. It's so candid, and it's a great book. What could you tell us about you that we don't know? Is there anything?
I love to give. I think I've mentioned this to you a few times. I love to give. I'm a very giving person. I've been that way, Scott, all my life, from my childhood on up. I see better, and I give unconditionally, with no strings attached, no expectations. I just give. When I was a kid, when a kid comes up and says, Ted, can I have your G.I. Joe? I would give him the G.I. Joe, And I know the consequences would be a butt whipping by my mama for giving away my toy, but I just gave. I love to give. And even when I was homeless, those guys that were standing out there on the opposite side of the freeway, if they didn't have a good day or something, I'd say, how you do, man? Now, they would lie to me, of course, because they knew. I'd say, here, man, here's some change the lady gave me at the last car. A couple dollars, but I didn't put nothing on it. I didn't say, Lord, I gave that man $2. Yeah, I'm a very giving person.
Ted, final question here.
Sure.
Obama or Romney?
Obama.
Obama or Romney? Who do you like?
Obama.
Any particular reason?
Well, I don't know if this is that kind of show, but no, but the main reason is that the man really, really is doing the best he can, given the cards that he was dealt. And, I'm not knocking Bush's leaving office the way he did in a wreck, but I think Obama's doing a darn good job of being puppeted around as much as he is, and still maintaining some type of presence about him. Now, if Mitt comes off and pulls, Republicans, okay, black folks, we gave you your 4 years of a black president, I'm gonna go with Obama,
Have you ever met Obama?
No, but I would love to.
You would love to.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he'll see this.
Oh, I hope so.
Wouldn't that be something?
President Obama, somebody asked me, I think on your show, as a matter of fact, somebody said, Ted, do you think if you didn't have this uncanny resemblance to Obama, that you would remember that guy?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
My skin crawled a little bit during that one. That wasn't... But you never know what you're going to get when you go to the phones.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Ted Williams, it is always a pleasure to have you here. And if you do ever move out of the state, promise you'll come back from time to time.
I'll do a phone-in for you, Scott. I'll do anything, man. I apologize for, the lapse of communication this time, but I love you, man.
Ted, always good to see you. I love you, too. Ted Williams, the golden voice. He's one you can't forget. A golden heart. Thank you.